Welcome to Good as Gold, the podcast where we share how Olympic dreams are actually human stories. I'm Sarah Hughes, Olympic champion in figure skating 2002 Salt Lake City, and your host for this journey behind the medal. Today on Good as Gold, I'm joined by Carly Patterson, one of the most iconic names in American gymnastics. At just 16 years old, Carly stunned the world at the 2004 Athens Olympics, becoming the first U.S. woman in 20 years to win the coveted all-around gold medal. In this conversation, Carly shares the story behind her meteoric rise from discovering gymnastics at a cousin's birthday party to overcoming injuries and setbacks on the road to Olympic gold. She opens up about the pressure of competing on the world's biggest stage, what it means to inspire a new dynasty of American gymnasts, and how she's carried those lessons into life as a mother, motivational speaker, and leader in her sport.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Doing good.
Oh, I love your background. The Wheaties.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is our office, which I'm never in. This is really my husband's workspace, but I've got I like trophy cases and all my stuff back here. So it's like,
are your medals back there?
No, they're over here in like a little display box that he had made for me and engraved for me. But yeah, so he just has all my stuff in his office. But this is the best place for me to be for like stuff like this.
This is mostly about the Olympic journeys and what it was like training, what the Olympics were like, what your life has been since. For you, when I was, obviously like I watched you, and cheering for you. I'm so excited. And I was actually in Athens and we met in Athens.
Oh,
after
gosh.
You won.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember.
I'm sure I do. You know what that's like. It's like a whirlwind of like meeting a bajillion people right after, and
Yeah.
probably like half asleep at the time too, from just like going nonstop and here, there.
It was insane for me. I mean, the gymnastics, women's gymnastics at in the summer games is just like the pinnacle in Athens. And for you to win the all around, I was like, the U.S. was just like, oh,
yeah,
Carly, oh my gosh. So I'm sure you had like a million things after too, like especially in Greece before you even came home.
Yeah, it was pretty busy for a few days there. And I mean, everyone always asks me if I got to see Greece, and I'm like, no. You know how that is. You're just doing all of the obligations and all of the things that come with winning an Olympics. And there's a ton of interviews and a ton of appearances. And it's like, that's kind of just like your agenda and your schedule's kind of pretty set and crazy right after. And then by that time too, it's like I'd been away from home for like a month or something like that, because we were at training camp beforehand. And then you go to Greece, however, many weeks, at least a week before, any kind of competition starts, because you're trying to get acclimated to the time and, the gym and just getting training done there. And so then by the time you go through all of, your Olympic competition, then the obligations after, I was just wanting my own bed. That's what I couldn't wait for. I remember after just getting home, and I'm such a homebody in general. So yeah, I was missing home pretty bad by the end of it all. And so it was like, I should have stayed and actually, sightseed. I was there. I should have just, stayed. But then it's like you get home and then, really you only have probably like 1 or 2 nights maybe in your house till you're like flying to New York and LA and all these different places. Anyway, so it's crazy.
Usually I like to start with like some warm-up questions.
Okay.
That was just like interesting for me. I did see the box, but now I know that your husband made it for you.
Yes.
'Cause, when was the last time you wore your medals?
The last time I wore them was actually probably not long ago. Where did I bring them? Normally I bring them when I speak. So I'll travel with them, when I'm on the road. And so normally I'll wear them while I'm taking pictures, or I'll let other people wear them while we're doing pictures or, whatever. So, I mean, I actually get to see them pretty often. It used to be where I don't ever take them out and I don't ever travel with them. And they just kind of stayed in a safe for the longest time. Then I was kind of like, well, like, what's the point of that? You know, like you don't even have them out and displayed, or you don't take them anywhere. Like you just never see them, never think about them. And so one day my husband actually surprised me and had this cool little display box made out of olive wood and engraved and stuff. And so just now I get them nicely placed in this little display box. But I take them out too. I was like, I decided to just start traveling with them and taking them with me. And it always seems like everybody loves getting to see them. And I kind of, I guess, take that for granted. So, you know, I'm like, oh, no, I guess not everybody gets to see what an Olympic medal looks like. So I bring them and travel with them, and it's fun. So I do get to appreciate them, I guess, more than I used to.
I bet kids like really love it. Or like kids really love seeing, I remember getting to touch it.
Yes. The kids love that. But I mean, really the parents and the adults too, like they think it's super cool, you know? So it's always neat to get to share that with other people. Where do you keep yours, by the way?
So I have mine here, and I keep it in a safe because I was just like always afraid that I'd lose it or somebody would take it.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe I should
maybe you should get a display box. Yes.
I should get a display box. Yeah. They gave at the Salt Lake Olympics, they gave us like this wooden box to keep it in, and like a nice leather pouch. But you can't see it through it because it's all opaque. Yeah. So
so not really displayed.
Is like a little bit. It's not displayed at all. Yeah, I think that we should like display some things. We were I was taking some of my stuff, and my husband got me all of these Olympic pins. Like he went on eBay and stuff, and he put this in a box, just random Olympic pins that he found online. And then I like had my SB, and he was like, "Oh, we should have the SB on display." It was actually broken. Because the top had fallen off. And so, we fixed the SB, and now the SB is behind me.
Nice.
So we have
it should be displayed.
Yeah, we should enjoy them, right?
Right, that's right.
Tokens to remind us. So
that's right. Hey, we once did some cool stuff. We might be moms now, you know, wives, but we had some cool stuff in our past.
And now you can see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your pre-competition routine like? Did you have any superstitions?
Not really any superstitions. I mean, we would always have a training that morning normally before competition if it was, you know, at night. And so just would always, you know, want to get a decent training in that day to just kind of feel comfortable and confident going into that competition. Normally would just rest during the day for a little bit before kind of just starting to get up and get ready and get the leotard on and the hair ready and makeup. And I would always eat scrambled eggs before my competitions. Little protein, I guess, gave me some energy, and it just worked well for me, I found over the years. And I mean, I would listen to music, my Discman. You know, I always have my Discman for anybody that there's probably people that are not going to know what I'm talking about when I say that, but I'd have my CDs and listen to some music and just kind of get pumped and ready to go and say my prayers, and that was kind of it.
What music did you
Nothing
listen
too
to
crazy.
On your Discman? Did you make your own mixes?
Yeah, I would make my own mixes sometimes. So it'd just be like a mixture of different stuff, whatever I was, you know, listening to or into at the moment. There was a lot of Ashley Simpson. I remember that. She was real popular around that time. So yeah, probably mainly like pop stuff that was out at that time.
I used to have Discman. I remember when I would do like a little jogging warm up, I'd have to hold it closed because it wasn't like secure enough when I would jog that the music would just skip.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, kids don't know how good they have it these days.
You don't have to hold anything closed anymore. You can just listen to your music.
Yeah. Sorry, no sudden movements if you don't want to skip.
Did you get to see any other events when you were there? Or like, I guess I remember I saw you very, very briefly in London for 2012.
Yeah.
Or like, what's your most memorable moment as a spectator?
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, in Athens, no, I didn't get to see anything else, but I went back for 2012 and that was so cool. It was just such a different experience, right? When you're there as a spectator and on the other side of things versus, a competitor, you can really kind of enjoy it and just soak it in because you don't have all the nerves and, worrying about your competitions and everything. But that was so cool to go back to 2012 for me and just we saw, what did we get to see? Volleyball, sand volleyball, a lot of the track and field stuff, which was so cool. I'd never, been to anything like that before. And so that was fun. There's like so many things going on in the arena. What else? Now I'm kind of blanking, but even going back for Paris was really cool too. Saw some skateboarding and BMX stuff. Same thing, sand volleyball again. And, obviously getting to be at all the gymnastics competitions. And so it's so fun to be there and be back. It just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like you're together with the whole world and you're all just there appreciating these amazing athletes that have trained their whole lives. And, it's like you're just rooting for everybody because you know what it's like. And you just want everyone to do good and to be able to do their best and for their hard work to show up. And so it's just such an exciting and electric feeling to be at an Olympic Games, That's a
I mean, when I've been to both summer and winter since, and
I'd love to go to a winter.
I love.
Take me along with you for the next one.
The next year. It's so different than the summer games, like surprisingly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. I like both though. I went with my husband to Winter Games because he hadn't been to one before. I'm looking forward to like going with my whole family.
Yeah.
And did you go with your family or did you just go? Yeah.
Just my husband. Yeah. Because that would have been a lot to take all the kids. It'd be fun.
It is,
but it'd be a lot.
I mean, it's also a lot for adults.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but
I think it really depends on where it is. Yeah. Like I'm looking forward to seeing like what new sports are also introduced to the winter because some Paris, they're like trying out new sports and so some of them, might not have stuck, but some of them,
yeah.
Like I like watching the evolution of the games too. Although gymnastics is always a staple. Have you tried any of the male skills or the male apparatus, or do the women and men just completely stay on their own?
I've really never done that. I mean, I'm trying to even think if I ever played around in the gym, but I honestly, I don't think I ever did. I don't think it ever interested me to go and try it, or maybe I was probably just too scared to hurt myself, and then I get in trouble for being silly, trying to go do something on a non-woman's event. But I did not try any of the men's events.
I saw you do some tumbling the other day. Like I was watching it. It's like, oh my gosh, that is so impressive. Did you have to work up to that, or did you just be like, I'm going to go do this sequence and then do it?
No, I did not. I was not planning on that at all. It was a friend of mine, and we were coaching at a gymnastics camp in Utah, and he was like, "You're gonna do some gymnastics. You're gonna try some gymnastics." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And one of the last days, he was finally like, "Okay, go start warming up. Like, get on the tumble track. We're gonna get you doing some tumbling." And I was just kind of like, all right. And at first I was a little bit scared, and because I hadn't done anything in so long, especially like legit tumbling. I was just like, I have no clue what, I'm able to do. And I think probably like you, like in your mind, it feels like, you still have that muscle memory of like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like you remember what it feels like to do your jumps, I'm sure, and, your passes or your bar routine, whatever. But physically, like, you cannot do that anymore, right? You don't train, you don't do the same conditioning, all of those things, the flexibility, all of those things you don't do anymore. So you can't physically actually do it. But so I just started small, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do like some round up back handsprings, see where I'm at with timing. And like the first couple flips that I tried, I saw some stars and some spots, and I was like, okay, like, let me get my equilibrium going here, my air awareness. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be brave, and started doing some harder stuff, and like did actually some legit passes, my double Arabian and double A out. And like I said, I was not expecting to be able to do that. And then I fully thought I was going to be sore in the most random places the next day. And I actually wasn't. I was shocked. So it was so fun. And in that moment, I was so happy my friend got me to do it, because I wouldn't have thought that I could have done that. And I was just like, wow, like that was so much fun. Like I just wanted to keep tumbling and keep flipping. So for a hot second there, I was like, maybe I should try for 28. I don't know. Like, no.
I mean, do you, like, I'm guessing that you work out and keep in some type of level of fitness up to be able to just go in and be doing.
Yeah, I do, work out like a normal person these days. We've got kind of like a home gym in our garage. And so I try about 4 or 5 days a week to get out there, lift weights, and, stay fit and healthy, and, keep my muscles strong. So I think that is honestly why I was able to do it, and then also not be sore like I thought it was going to be too. But, you're working so many different muscles than just like a normal workout, normal with weights or whatever. Like gymnastics, it's so different. So, yeah, it was so fun though.
When I, like sometimes like haven't been on the ice a long time, and I'll go on like after I'd been off for a long time, I was like, oh, I'll just do a spin. And I felt fine. I was like, well,
you get dizzy.
And then I got home, because I hadn't spun in a long time. And then I had all these like broken blood vessels under my eyes. And I was like so confused. At first I was like, wait, how did this happen? What's going on in my face? And I remember the spins. And I was like, so, it's not even just like muscle memory. It's just like everything.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
We're doing it every day. Yeah.
You're like, who'd have thought you'd go home and have broken blood vessels because you got that.
It looked terrible. And I was like, oh, I don't even. Well, first I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to my face?
You're like, oh yeah, I tried some spinning the other day. That's funny.
How did you get into gymnastics?
I got started because of a cousin's gymnastics birthday party. So just a random Saturday in 1994, and went to my cousin's birthday party. And actually, the coach and owner of that gym came over to me at the birthday party and asked me where I took gymnastics. And I was like, I don't take gymnastics. It's literally the first time I've ever been in a gym before. And so then he went over and told my parents, or went to go talk to them, I guess, and just said, hey, like, your daughter's got some talent. Like, I see some potential, something in her. Y'all should think about, putting her in the sport, letting her try it out. And, my parents are kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I guess after, attending that birthday party, there was just this spark that was lit inside of me for gymnastics after. And I was flipping all over the house and backyard and trying to do all kinds of things. And so finally, after doing like a couple months of that, begging my parents to, let me try it, they finally did. And that's how I got started. That's where it all began.
Were you serious like right away? So obviously we're good right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some level of like potential and talent, obviously, but I started off like anybody else, just going, once a week doing a class. And it did kind of quickly move up, and it started to become, 3 times a week, and then, every evening, and then, 2-a-day practices and Saturday practices. So it quickly kind of, turned into being there all day, every day. over the next couple of years. And, but I loved it. And, that's where I wanted to be. And the more I got to be there, the more time, the better.
I was looking up what the levels of gymnastics, because it's like they make it sound pretty simple, like level 1, level 2, like up to level 10.
Right.
But it's not at all.
Now now it's different than when I was younger and in the sport. Like now they've got all different kinds of kind of paths and things you can take. You do the Excel program. You could do, like the junior Olympic program, like the JO program, do the elite, if you're trying to like go the elite path. So there's kind of different routes you can take these days. So a lot of times, there is some different levels and things now that, maybe someone might say, I'll be like, what level are you? And instead of like it used to be and just being like, oh, I'm level 6 or, whatever, they'll be like, oh, I'm Excel gold or whatever. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't really know what that means, but great. So it's like, I don't know how that compares to how it used to be when I was in those levels.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably much more also insider gymnastics, because like when people are, the casual Olympic fan watches, you're just seeing the Olympic team or you're watching the national team train, like, compete or the Olympic trials. Yeah.
Yeah. And those people are already, at the highest level, that elite level. You're on the national team. And so you've gone through, all the levels that are before that. You've, tested into that elite level. So you also have to test into the elite level that, you have to get this certain score that qualifies you to become an elite level gymnast. And then, even then you have to go to, our classics and qualify for gymnastics championships. And then, you got to get a certain score there, be at a certain, place in the rankings to be able to then become on the national team. So it's a lot of steps that go into it before, you would ever be at the Olympic level. I mean, you're seeing people at the Olympics, obviously at the very end, the highest level you can be.
Did gymnasts go to school? Like, did they go to public school or private? Like, school just in the classroom with other non-gymnasts, just like people that they live around?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up knowing a whole, just girls that did a whole mixture of different ways to school. So, I mean, me personally, I kind of did a little bit of everything. I did do public school. I did do homeschool. I did, there was a teacher at our gym for a while, and we'd do schooling in between our workouts. I did private school that was basically for most of the girls in our gym that would go there, a lot of them. And then it was actually a school for people that had these training schedules that couldn't really attend normal public school. So there was like actors or tennis players or ice skaters. So there was actually kind of a range of different people that we went to school with that kind of were similar to us, where we didn't have that schedule to be able to go to public school. But there have been people that did full day public school, and then they would just have a longer evening training type of a thing. So I guess it just kind of depends on your gym and what they do. And how it works out.
Are any of these other athletes, actors, do they have like go into a professional career in those fields?
I think
Do you even remember who they are?
Some. No, not really. Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So I was looking at your career, and it was just like kind of crazy in that, it seemed like you hit a stride and then just were pretty dominant. Like, so you were the junior champion in 2002. And then in 2003, your first senior event, the American Cup, you're the youngest competitor. You just turned 15. You won. And then at the World Championships that year, you were silver and all around. You helped lead Team USA to gold, which was the first for the U.S. women. So this is like perfect timing for the Olympics. When you were younger, did you watch gymnastics in the Olympics? Like, did you have favorite gymnasts that you looked up to?
Oh, yeah. I had the 96 Olympics on like VHS tape. And so I watched that like most every evening when I would get home from gym. And I was obsessed I wore that tape out. So I loved all the girls on that team. And then, yeah, I mean, I remember watching the 2000 Olympics because I was 12 and I was only 4 years away. Like I knew I'd be eligible for that next one. So it was kind of like at that moment, I feel like I really zoned in on knowing that was what, my ultimate goal was. And I knew that I was going to, commit to doing whatever I could that was possible to have the best chance at making that Olympic team in 4 years. So that was, super inspiring for me, obviously, knowing like, okay, in 4 years from now, that's where I want to be. I got 4 years to put in the work, kind of a thing. So yeah, I mean, I was always, watching and being inspired by the generations before me for sure.
This is like the perfect setup then for the 2004 games. I mean, you're like top of the world. You're, great. I would say a great age, although, I guess 16 now is a little bit young for gymnasts. Like they're trending a little bit older.
Yeah,
but
for
at the
sure.
time, like it seemed like the gymnasts were typically around that age.
Yeah, that's true. But it's funny because our Olympic team was a little bit different in that way of like, you didn't see that as much then, which you see it a lot more now. Like you said, it's definitely trending older. But our team was very unique at that time because we had 2 16-year-olds, 2 18-year-olds, and 2 like 26-year-olds. So that was kind of like they were the grandmas, in the sport. And yeah, you just really didn't see people, in their 20s doing elite gymnastics at that time. So it was cool. We had a big range on our team, but it was, leading up into the Olympics and that year before, I'd had a lot of success coming onto the senior, spotlight. And so that was good, gave me confidence. And obviously having a world championships right before that, the year before, was, really kind of good to see, who my competition was going to be that next year at the Olympics and kind of how I fared and where I stood out. And so getting second in the all around at that World Championships was really cool for me. And actually in that time too, I competed on a broken elbow and I didn't even know it. So some of my stuff I had to have a little bit watered down because my elbow was in pain. But we had a lot of stuff that happened that World Championships, a lot of injury, a lot of setback and trials that we ended up having to face. Had to bring in like all of our alternates and basically kind of make up a whole new team. And so it was a crazy competition, things that were just happening to us one after the next. But to still be able to pull together and win the first ever U.S. Team championships for a women's team was incredible. Just being able to make history in our sport and being a part of that team. And then just kind of like looking ahead to the Olympics, like, oh my gosh, like we could do this. Like we got a good chance, if we can do this here. And then, after what happened to a lot of us at that World Championships, this gives us a lot of confidence going into 2004. And it was being 16. I kind of always say I think it was probably good and bad. There are pros and cons to it. I think being kind of more naive and just really being able to focus in on just gymnastics and, how to prepare and get ready for the Olympics was super helpful and probably not, getting in my head too much. But as you know, the times were very different as well back then than they are now. Like I can't imagine having to deal with all of the outside noises and surrounding distractions of social media and kind of, having to like I just got to focus on my gymnastics, you know, like so many of these girls are having to focus on, you know, their brand and their business and their deals. And it's so much more than just the sport now. And so that is a lot of pressure. And then you're constantly being bombarded with what people think of you, what people are saying about you and your performance. And like, oh my gosh, like I can't imagine competing with all of those distractions, you know? So it's like, I kind of always look back and I'm super thankful, for the time that I did win in, because I didn't have all of that extra outside noise that so many athletes have to face today.
Yes, I have some thoughts on that, but I want to go back to your broken elbow. So when did you find out that it was broken?
About 6 weeks before Worlds. It was fractured, and the doctor had kind of said, you know, you guys, you need to take kind of 6 weeks of rest. But we were like, it's in 6 weeks, and I really want to compete, so we need to come up with a different plan. And so kind of rested it and did what I could in the gym to kind of give it some rest, but at the same time still kind of stay as prepared as possible for Worlds that was coming up. But what had happened too, actually, at Worlds and training, one of the days I did my beam dismount and I just kind of landed a little bit low. And so I put my arm back when I landed just to kind of catch myself. But I put the bad elbow back and it was obviously already compromised. And so I just heard this kind of like snap, pop. And I was like, oh, that's probably not good. And so it's kind of like, you know, swollen and pain and stuff. But at the same time, like I said, we had so many injuries and setbacks. And it was like, okay, I'm at my first World. Like, I don't want to give up my spot to compete. And I just kind of was like, we're going to do everything possible to just make this work and to get through. And so my coach would, you know, put this special, like, it was like some sort of Russian cream that he had. And it kind of got the blood flowing in the area and would make it feel better. And we'd wrap it up and just doing all of like the physical therapy type things you could do to help and just kind of get through. So then when I got home after that competition, that's when I went to the doctor to see what was going on and needed surgery. So went into surgery right away. They put a couple of screws in the bone and reattached ligaments. And so then I had to I had to face the coming back from a surgery, I guess, with less than a year away from the Olympics. And so that was a little nerve wracking thinking because, you need every single minute to train and prepare to make an Olympic team. And also we'd never had an injury like this to deal with. I was really lucky in my career to not have a ton of injury, just, aches and pains like normal. But so coming back from a surgery, there was just a lot of like what ifs and unknowns, and was it going to heal properly and in time? And, would I be ready to kind of come back and make an Olympic team? And luckily, we all did. We were all able to come back kind of stronger than ever and make that Olympic team less than a year later. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. I mean, recovering from injury when you're young is like, I found that was just so hard. Like I had a tough injury when I was like, somewhat elite, but not the top.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just maybe because I was like young, I just like didn't know what to do with myself. I was so frustrated. I was like, wait, I'm so used to just training all day long and I'm on this schedule. And if I miss a day, everything's gonna be terrible.
Right.
And because that was all like I knew at that time too.
Yeah.
So,
no, I totally feel you on that.
I think coming back, it was just like, I guess like fear in the sense of like, am I going to have to relearn everything?
Yeah.
But it seemed like, you had some good guidance, maybe if you, were healed and then able to train and, the few months that you had left leading up to Athens.
For sure. And I kind of looked at it as this opportunity to focus on some other areas that I was, a little bit weaker in, like dance and choreography and, flexibility and the conditioning and anything I could kind of still do with my lower body, like as my elbow was healing, like we stayed in the gym to stay focused. I was literally in the gym the day after my surgery, and watching the girls, watching my teammates train and like just trying to stay focused. And you're right, because I remember like enjoying the first couple days, because, I never had an injury like that before. So there was just never a moment to have like time off and just kind of be in the gym, but not like do all of your, hard skills. And, but it was like after a couple of days of that, I was so bored and I was so ready to like get back to doing my regular gymnastics. And same thing, I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall behind. And you're just watching your teammates, which at the same time, it's inspiring, it's helpful, but you're like, I would be doing that too. So yeah, it was hard to wait and to kind of have patience for everything to heal. But at the same time, we kept the bigger picture in mind, and, I was doing all of the physical therapy and, getting to all those appointments and doing everything else that I possibly could to just stay ready and strong and focused and prepared, for when I was able to come back and, be at full strength. So yeah.
I've seen some Olympic athletes who've had their peak performance at the Olympics, and like a few weeks before in the trials or the nationals, they don't have the best. So you kind of followed along that path a little bit at the Olympic trials. It was like you fell off the beam twice, which seems unusual from, being a fan, that, that's not typical.
Yeah.
Right. Were you,
for sure.
Were you just like getting your feet ready for the Olympics? How did it affect your mindset going into Athens, knowing that like your last competition wasn't your best?
Yeah. My coach was really good at bringing all of his athletes to this peak moment when we needed to get there, and not peaking too early. And so I think at the time I didn't realize that. And obviously any competition you go into, you're wanting to win. You're wanting to do your best. You're not wanting to have these mistakes and fall, and especially not in Olympic trials, right? You're wanting to go out there, solidify your spot on the team, and show them what you're capable of. And so for me to fall both days on my best event was super unusual. And I was obviously frustrated and, not happy about that. But at the same time, I ended up looking back at it, realizing that it was such a blessing in disguise, because people had kind of stopped talking about me. They started talking about, the other two girls that, were the top two at that competition. And so the focus kind of shifted off of me, and I was able to go home and just be able to focus on my gymnastics and my routines and kind of the mistakes that I made. And my coach was also really good about just helping us realize, like, we don't need to take a fall or a mistake or a bad competition into the next day. Like, we learn from it and we forget about it and we move on. You don't take that to the next thing. And so we just worked on those skills. We knew too at the same time that was just super uncharacteristic for me. And so just getting back into the gym, focusing in and working on those things that, needed to be maybe shifted or changed, but also just looking ahead to the Olympics, knowing that we were going to be ready. And so I think at trials, I just wasn't quite at that peak position physically and mentally. And that was okay. He was like, I don't want you to do your best here. I want you to do your best at the Olympics. So we're not trying to be at that peak physical top level right now. So this is okay. And so I think knowing that, he made me feel okay about it. They made me feel okay about it, that this is fine. We want to be here at the Olympics. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I just didn't think about it. Like, I literally let it go. And I was like, that was in the past. And that's not something I normally do. Like, I'm not even going to think about that again.
when you got to the Olympics, that was like your mindset, because you said like you don't really get to see many other events. I mean, but now you're an Olympian. There's like a whole, it's different than a world championships or,
Right.
a national championship. So there's so much going on, even without social media or, you're, selling your brand or working with sponsors. Was the mindset like, I'm going to go in the opening ceremony? Did gymnasts stay in the village?
We did. Yeah.
So I think now actually most figure skaters stay in the village. When I was doing it, some of them didn't.
Oh, really?
And just would, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of all stayed in
stay
this little.
focused.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I think there have been some Olympics where maybe the gymnasts didn't, but our team did, and we all stayed together, and we had, it was me and my team, one of my teammates, Courtney, who stayed in a room together. We all, had roommate. There was the 6 of us, and we kind of just all stayed together, huddled together in the one room. But I always say like it is, the Olympics is different, and you're constantly reminded that it is not just another competition, because the Olympic rings are everywhere. Like you can't get away from it. And that reminder. And so, checking in, getting all of your stuff, all of your gear, and just kind of feeling that Olympic presence is pretty crazy. And, you immediately know like this is different. But there's also such a sense of like pride and a sense of like, let's go. We're here, we made it, like, let's do this kind of a thing now, or at least for me.
So I want to go to all around for a second, because we have a short program and a free skating and figure skating, and I was 4th after the short program. And so like that was a big deal, because there was no one who ever won. And like that scoring system, who was in 4th place going into the final free skate.
Okay.
And then I saw like halfway through the all around, you were also in 4th.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is a long time ago. You're like, this is 2 decades ago. I don't think about this anymore.
Yeah. But no, I do remember. You're right. Yeah. I think it was maybe after Beam, I looked over and I saw that I was in 4th place. And so going into floor, knowing that was kind of my 4th final event, I was up last. And so I had to kind of wait and watch everybody else go finish their floor routines. And, most of the girls in the arena were finishing up their last routines, and, kind of able to take that breath of relief, like you'd finish the night. And I was just kind of with each competitor going, like, obviously those nerves were building, and, that anxious feeling of like, oh, okay, and you're just trying to stay warm on the sides and kind of stay moving and, dump and whatever, because it's like you have your touch warm up, at the beginning. And so then, like I said, you got to kind of wait for all these routines until it's finally your turn. And I'd kind of calculated the score that I needed to get by the time it was my turn. And so I knew that I was capable of getting the score that I needed. I just needed to really like hit a good routine, and not make, many mistakes, which is easier said than done. But, I just knew that I could get that score. I knew I was capable of it. And so that kind of helped give me some confidence going up there. And I was like, okay, like you can do this, like you can do it. It's possible. There is a chance. And so just going up there and kind of doing each pass, basically just having one of the best floor routines of my life, and kind of running off thinking, okay, I think you did it. Like, I think that was good enough, and running into my coach's arms, and we're thinking we did it, and kind of waiting those couple minutes, for the score to come up. Cause you're like, well, what did they see? Or, what did they take off here? So you're just hoping that you did it. And then all of a sudden, my score comes up and I see Carly Patterson, USA #1. And that moment where, my coach just throws me up on his shoulders, and I'm crying, and, he's saying, "You did it, we did it," and we're just waving to everybody in the arena, and just seeing people chant USA and wave the American flag all around, and it's one of the most incredible, surreal feelings of your life. That that feeling.
But I love watching other people have those moments too, of when
you can appreciate it so much.
They need to hit the moment, and then they do.
Right. Yeah, because it was close. I mean, the score, the score that I got, I don't remember exactly, the difference between first and second, and third, but it was close. Like there was no room for error, really. And to be able to do it in those moments where it's that, high pressure, high stakes, you do it when it counts, is pretty special.
Yeah, that's like the whole thrill of it. Too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like you need to pull it out at this exact moment. Like, doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Doesn't matter if you can do this tomorrow. Like, do this right this second.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I remember our prelims competition, which is the very first one that we do that qualifies us to the all around, to all of the, individual event. I remember seeing my score in the all around on that day, and I won that day. So that was like the very first competition right out of the gate. I hit everything, and I had the highest score out of everyone. And I was like, if I could just do this again at an all around night, and then it happened, and just so incredible and so amazing.
I mean, so you kind of launched a dynasty for the U.S. in the sense that, Mary Lou Retton won 20 years before, and then you come, and now since your games, it's been all American women who've won.
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It can be really powerful for someone to see someone do something, right? And for them to start to feel like, oh my gosh, like she can do it. I can do it. Like, why not me? Why can't I be that next person? And so, I don't know if it was kind of like that type of effect where, you hadn't seen someone do it in so long. And then you see this, this girl from the U.S. win in the all around, which is, normally dominated by, Russia or Ukraine or Romania or, those countries, to be able to finally see, a U.S. woman win, and then kind of inspire these next generations, and for it to continue to keep happening is just, it's been really cool to see, because it's just like this streak that you don't want it to end. And each year they're just being able to add, or each Olympics, they're just being able to add another name to it, and starting back from 2004 when I won. And so it's been really cool to see the U.S. dominate in the all around all these years later.
So your dismount off the beam, which is, first of all, awesome to have a move named after you.
Yeah.
But it's still ranked. Like it's kept its difficulty. It's kept its value. And I think only 2 other women have performed it, right?
I
Since
think
then?
Yeah, I think so. It's not performed very often.
When your coach first suggested it to you, did it come easily? Or was this more of a natural move for you? Or were you just thinking I don't know if we need to do this. This is a little unnecessary. Let's not take this risk.
I was that gymnast that if my coach wanted me to try something, I was totally down. And kind of sometimes the crazier, the better. So for me, I was already doing a difficult beam dismount. I was already doing the round off back handspring into my dismount, which you don't see a lot of people do that because it's hard and you've got to be very precise. You're literally tumbling like you would tumble on the floor, but on the beam. And so I was already doing a round up back handspring double back dismount for a long time. And I also did a single, so my dismount is a round up back handspring double Arabian. And so the double Arabian is jumping up in the air, half turn, 2 front flips. And so I already did a double Arabian tumbling pass in my floor routine. And I already did a single Arabian as a skill on beam. And so that skill for me was just like a good skill. Like I was very comfortable and confident in that skill. And I think they just saw that I had the power probably enough to try it. And so, yeah, we just one day like, let's try this. Let's see, if we can, if this is something that sticks and it's something you can do. And I was like, okay. And I don't remember it taking like super long to really learn because, like I said, a lot of the dismount was already kind of there and I was very familiar with a double Arabian. And so I just remember trying it into the pit for a little while and then finally feeling like, okay, I think we could, try this on the hard floor and, add it to the routine. And so just kind of gradually got at it. And that was just, my skill and my thing. And like you said, for it to have held the difficulty value for all of this time, it is a true testament to how difficult and scary and kind of dangerous that skill is, which kind of makes it even more special for me to have such a difficult skill named after me that, you don't see people do it. And I do hope to see people do it in the future because it's awesome. But I get it. It's very hard. It's very difficult and it's very scary.
I've watched it a few times and I just like, you make it look easy. So
I know, that is the problem with any of our sports, right? We train so hard behind the scenes. People didn't see all the times that I went crooked on the roundup I handspring, took off of one leg, landed on my back, did these like terrifying moments with it. So we're doing all of this behind the scenes to then go in the competition and do it to make it look effortless and easy. And so people, I feel like can't even grasp the difficulty of sometimes, the skills that we do because that's our job. It's our job to make it look effortless and easy.
Yeah. I mean, there was a pair team who did a quad twist, which is really hard and something that other pair teams weren't doing.
That sounds crazy.
But like a lot of the judges missed it. And at the time, like there wasn't a replay, like they didn't watch it on replay. And it's just thinking like, oh my gosh, you did this incredibly difficult move that nobody else is doing. And some of the judges
didn't even catch it.
Oh, because like that's what they said, So,
oh my gosh. Yeah. They're probably like, are you okay? That's funny.
I actually do have a question for like the casual viewer, because in 2012 in London, I went to go watch gymnastics and there was so much stuff going. So it was really hard for me to know what to follow and which events to watch. What's your advice to somebody like me? Or sorry, like the casual person who like wants to enjoy it?
Yeah. I mean, when there's 4 different events going on at the same time, you're just not going to catch it all. I mean, I even find myself feeling the same way, and you're trying to watch everything. So I kind of just have, my eyes going all over the place. And, vault is a quick one, right? So it's like, if someone's vaulting coming up but like someone's on bars, you're kind of like watching that. And then, you can kind of start to tell when someone's running, like switch to vault real quick, switch back to bars, so it's just kind of like, it's really the same for me too. And I'm kind of trying to always look for those top gymnasts on those events that they're really, good at as well. So you're trying to catch that to just staying on the lookout for like those gymnasts that you're really wanting to watch on a certain event, but also just trying your best to just keep your eyes moving to everything. It is hard because it's not, one competitor at a time or just 2 at a time. Like everybody's going at the same time, or it would take forever to get through a competition. And so you just kind of have to do your best to keep your eyes going on all the events.
I mean, I imagine as a competitor with all the stuff going on, you're just so focused on what you're doing.
Yeah. And you're just used to it. Like that's how it is with competitions. Everybody's going. There's, floor routine music going when you're on beam or bars or whatever. There's people clapping because someone finished a routine over here. So it's just stuff you kind of get used to because, like you said, you are zoned in and you're not thinking about, what's really going on around you. Or at least I wasn't.
What do you think about now? Like, all of these years later, you're in a totally different phase of your life. You're married, you have kids. One of your daughters is now in gymnastics, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She just kind of started. Yeah, it's a totally different phase of life. And I always say, parents should have an Olympic gold medal, because I don't know if you feel the same. Because I know you have a little one too. And, but like,
Yeah.
parenting is so hard. It's so hard. Like, that is so much harder than winning Olympic gold medal to me. Just, every day try, and I think too, like, when you care so much, you're trying to instill, these good habits. You're trying to help your kids become the best they can be. And so it's like, when you care so much about trying to help shape and form them into, wonderful human beings, like, it then just kind of puts a lot of pressure on you, I feel like, at all times. But it also, I think, like competition, it just means you care and you're trying your best. And, I try to work hard at everything I do in life, whether that's, being a good wife, being a good mom, being a good friend, so it's being good in gymnastics. So it's just all of those life lessons that were learned from the gym just now get applied to everything that I do in my everyday life. Like, life is hard. Gymnastics was hard. Life is hard. And we get to choose whether or not we want to work hard at the things that we are doing, every single day, right? And the priorities that are in our life. And so I just kind of always have that same mindset and mentality from the gym in my everyday life. But also being a wife, being a mom to 3 little kids is my biggest accomplishment, my biggest, life accomplishment and dream and goal to raise, the family that I prayed for, the family that I dreamed about. So it's really the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life, which, like I said, is also the hardest thing I've ever done with my life, which I think is why it makes it so rewarding at the same time. You start seeing the fruits of your labor and the things that you're doing and teaching them. And, you're just kind of, each stage gets sweeter and different, in these different ways. It's kind of hard to explain. You kind of think, oh my gosh, the newborn stage is the hardest. And then you get out of that and you're like, oh, that wasn't the hardest. This is the hardest. It's like each stage just kind of keeps propelling forward and moving to like a different hard, if that makes sense. Like a different type of exhaustion. But like I said, it is the most rewarding thing to be living the life that I live now. And like I said, the life that I prayed for so long. And so, yeah.
It's like applying those things, the things that you learned in gymnastics or from your childhood now, into shaping, the next generation of humans.
Yeah.
It's the newborn stage, I will say, though, is very difficult.
I thought it was difficult too.
It was newborn stage was very, very hard for me.
Same.
Mostly because I didn't know what I was doing at all.
Right. Everything is a first.
Everything is a first. Yeah. Okay, so I like to end with this thing called torch or tin. Torch means like something you think is awesome.
Okay.
And tin is like not so great.
Okay.
Okay, so first, signature skills named after you.
Torch.
Yeah, that's like kind of awesome.
Wait, okay. Torch is awesome. Tin is not.
Tin is like
a trash can, like trash it basically.
Yeah. I was trying to go with like the like medals. Okay.
For sure.
Men getting the chance to win more individual medals because they have 6 events and women only have 4.
Torch, I mean, that's just the way it is.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I guess like, I don't know, like when I was looking at it, I was like, maybe add some women's events. But it looks like you guys are competing. Like, I don't know, there's so much gymnastics when I watch.
Yeah, I don't know if we could add anything else.
Single discipline specialists. Like everyone in Paris was obsessed with, some pommel horse guy. And he just came in
Oh,
and he just
yeah.
did that
Yeah.
event. Do you have women
Torch.
who do that too? Torch. Yeah. I mean, that was so exciting.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you know what? Sometimes not everybody's going to be the best all-arounder or something. So to be able to go in and make an Olympic team or help your team out on one certain event that you're the strongest on, like, heck yeah, why not?
Having 3 babies in 3 years.
Whoa. That's a toss-up. That's like, it's like a torch because we knocked it all out, but then it's also a 10 because it was really hard. Literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
I mean, having 2 in 2 years is, I'm finding, like,
Yeah.
anyway, just like, what the body goes through.
Yes, exactly.
In addition to the life changes.
Right. Yeah, all the changes and things that are happening with you that like never like fully get a chance to recalibrate, I guess. And then also at the same time, like your kids being so close, they're all so needy at the same times. Like you don't have an older kid to kind of like help you out or like one that at least listens a little bit. Like it's like everybody's all on the same crazy chaotic stage at once. And you're like, so I don't know. It's like, it's nice. It's nice to like boom, boom, boom and knock them out. But then it's also really hard. I don't know. Torch and 10.
Amazing. That was it.
That was fun.
I think like I, learned stuff about your journey that you can't just, find by Googling.
Yeah. Yeah. You get some little tidbits here and there that are not, widely known or just out there. So yeah.
Inspiring the next generation. That's what you're doing. Like I see you're still like involved in gymnastics on a few levels.
Yeah, actually I get to be, I am on the board of our USA Gymnastics Foundation. So we're just, raising money to be able to help our sport and help the athletes, help the coaches, just kind of the all around wellness of our sport. So that's been really fun and really rewarding. And we're just kind of just getting started. So there's a lot of fun things in the works with that. And to be able to be involved in gymnastics in a whole different way and capacity and serve and give back to a sport that has given me so much has been super fun and amazing opportunity to be a part of, as well as, getting to be a motivational speaker and just sharing my story and getting to kind of instill and impart the lessons and the tools that helped me in the gym every day that still help me every single day in my regular life now and how others can apply them. So yeah, it's really awesome. I feel very blessed to be in such, some rewarding roles of giving back and of sharing and inspiring. So yeah.
I was looking at your motivational speech topics, and one of them was on talking about how to make decisions from a place of freedom, not fear.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, that is so great.
Yes.
With that mindset.
Yeah. And that came from just a time where I was making decisions not, based on myself and my wants. It was more out of based on what other people thought or unrealistic expectations that I was putting on myself that I needed to let go. And so that all kind of came from just making, when you're making decisions from a place of fear where you're making them truly for yourself, not for unrealistic expectations you put on yourself, not for expectations or pressure that other people have put on you about maybe the way you should live your life or what you should do with your life or, whatever, then you can make these decisions kind of and live from a place of freedom and not fear.
To be able to have the tools to overcome things and look forward and support others is really wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I love all of the things that I've learned, and so you know exactly what I'm talking about. All this, these same lessons that you can take with you that just help you get through everyday life. And it's funny because my oldest he's almost 8, but he's kind of, my older two are starting to get more involved in sports. And so I really find that coach in me coming out, and just starting to be able to really even impart the things that I know and used and grew up with to them. And so it's so funny because I find myself going into like motivational speaking Carly, or, Coach Carly in these moments. But it's fun and it's rewarding to get to share them now with my kids. And, literally, like, I'm like, mommy went through this. Like, I know about this. Like, I can give you the best advice and the best perspective here because I lived it. And so right now, I don't really care, but they will. I'm like, I will be able to help you guys. Like, so you're gonna want to know what I know. But it's fun.
It's amazing. Okay, so